If you go to H.R. 3962, this is a bill that was written back in 2009, October 29, 2009. If you go down to page, I think maybe 1501, this is the FDA administration. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, it talks about National Medical Device Registry. And if you read down, it talks about implementing and it talks about class 3 medical devices, and it's like pacemakers and stuff. But this right here, it says, and this is a very open-ended bill. It means they can do whatever they want and have vague language. But it says, may include, as the Secretary determines, as she deems appropriate, and specifies in regulation, a class 2 device that is life-supporting or life-sustaining. What is a class 2 device? Well, if you go to the FDA, a class 2 Special Controls Guidance Document, implantable radio frequency transponder system for patent identification and health information. And if you go back here, it's all about data registry, medical device registry, health information, implantable. If you go over here to FDA, class 2, implantable radio frequency transponder system for patient identification and health information for medical device registry. And also over here it talks about it goes through this talks about the class 2. The device is intended to enable access to secure patient identification and corresponding health information in humans. Implantable. What are they talking about? They're talking about the microchip.
All right, this next story may sound like something out of, well, a Hollywood thriller. A Saudi inventor has created a killer microchip. It's designed to track terrorists and criminals and, well, you can think of somebody. Not only does it include a GPS device, it also has a lethal dose of cyanide, which can be activated at any time. You get my point?
Now, they tried to pass a bill like this a couple of years ago, and I think the whistleblowers came out, so they came out and redacted part of a bill, and they've come out with this very vague one. Now, what was in the other bill? This was H.R. 3200. Same wording, a class 2 device that is implantable. This was in their thing. Life supporting, life sustaining. The same thing is what they put here, but they've worded it vague. Class 2 device, they've taken out implantable, that is life supporting and life sustaining. Even though it's vague, it still means the same thing as a class 2 device that is implantable. This was in their actual bill. And when you go back, what is implantable? It goes back to the chip. And I think one reason why they took the thing out of the bill and has made it vague is because a couple years ago Ron Paul came out and he said buried deep within over 1,000 pages of this massive U.S. healthcare bill in a non-discussed section titled C11 section 2521, this is H.R. 3200, National Medical Device Registry, in which states its purpose as, he quotes, that part of the law, and then goes on to say, in a real world speak, according to this report, this new law, when finally implemented, provides the framework for making the United States the first nation in the world to require each and every one of its citizens to have implanted in them a radio frequency identification microchip for the purpose of controlling who is or isn't allowed medical care in their country. They have been talking about the microchip for a while, and it's getting closer and closer to them wanting to implement it. And now that Obamacare has passed, they wanted to establish a National Medical Device Registry as the Secretary deems appropriate, a Class 2 device that is life-supporting, Class 2 device, implantable, Class 2 device.
Now, this is a slide from an industry consortium called the Auto ID Center that wants to promote the use of these tiny tracking devices, the RFID tags, for a variety of different reasons. Perhaps the most disturbing of them, in addition to counting humans, would be to count and number every item on the planet and use it to replace the barcode. So physical items could actually be identified and numbered and linked from a distance and tracked. Now, one of the things on this slide that they talk about is it would take 23 bits, that's the numerical information it would have to contain in that tiny speck of dust-sized chip to number every automobile on the planet. It would take 29 bits, or zeros and ones, a string of 29 zeros and ones to number all the computers. And here's the creepy part. It would only take 33 zeros and ones to give a unique identifying number to every human being on the planet. So 001, 011, do that 33 times, and you've got a unique number for everyone. Now, the disturbing part here is that this industry consortium, which consists of some of the biggest global companies in the world, including Procter & Gamble, including Johnson & Johnson, Kimberly-Clark, International Paper, big companies, Coca-Cola, these guys should be thinking about products, and yet on here they're naming human beings. So this technology, with all of this backing, by the way, the Department of Defense and the U.S. Postal Service are also backers of this technology. The fact that they're putting human beings on their slides and their internal documents as a way to utilize this technology is a little bit worrisome. And definitely, by putting one of these numbers into one of these Verichips and implanting it into a human being, you could verify them. You could have a number associated with them. You could link that number up to a database, and you could require them to present that in order to buy or sell for the reasons that we talked about. Okay. The company producing these chips is a company called Alien Technology, and you can't really see it very well, but it's got, I think, one of the creepiest logos I've ever seen. It's black, it's got red on a black background, it has what looks like almost 3 claw marks sort of screeching across the screen, and in fact most of the imagery associated with this technology is quite dark. At a conference I attended about 2 months ago, there was a gentleman from Philip Morris talking about this technology. He was talking to a bunch of global executives from global companies who deal with moving products around. And he was telling them, you know, when this comes out, when we have radio devices and everything, when we're tracking everything all over the planet, you're going to need to really change the way you run your warehouse in your back room. And do you know what he said? And he meant this in terms of you're going to have to totally change the way you do business and revolutionize your thinking about moving products. But his statement was, this technology will destroy our way of life. The purpose of this technology is to destroy our way of life. Now, it's interesting because in his saying that, the whole room went silent. By the way, these are people who love the idea of tracking things as they move around. But even then, the room went silent because that was a pretty heavy statement. And I don't think he meant that it's going to absolutely destroy our way of life as we live day to day. But I also don't think he realized the symbolic importance of what he had said. Because if we do actually number every human being, and if we do number every physical item, and if we can keep track of all of that through databases and through computer systems, it will actually destroy our way of life. There will be no more freedom. There will be no more privacy or no more ability to walk around and even talk to other people freely, because your every move will be monitored and tracked. Right, there's the chips. And these devices, as I said, this industry consortium, they've already begun appearing, these radio frequency devices, in consumer products. What you're seeing here is a package of Gillette razor blades that's been equipped with one of these unique numbers, making it trackable from a distance. The purpose here was shoplifting prevention, but ultimately they want to put one of these on every physical item that we buy, meaning that not only would you be identifying yourself with your chip as you made your purchase, but all of the things you bought would also be identified with you, linked in a database. And in essence, it would make it difficult in a world where, let's say, there is the mark of the beast, and you've got a brother-in-law who is maybe willing to take the mark of the beast and give you the stuff that he buys so you can survive. In a world like that, if he bought a shirt, paid for it with his mark, and then handed it to you, that shirt could be tracked at a distance. It could be identified as you walk through a doorway, and they could say, hey, wait a minute, you're not Joe Schmo. You don't have the chip in your, this